That brings up with the tremendous performance by Eduardo Rodriguez. What are the Tigers going to do with him? As he has a 5-year deal, but this is the second year of that in which he has an opt-out, player option. He could just choose to become a free agent after this season, which essentially he signed a 2-year deal, because we rarely see players not hit the open market, especially players that are achieving the way Eduardo Rodriguez is right now. You could consider him the best pitcher in the American League right now. Um, I I think it's a no brainer. The Tigers need to shop him, and I would shop him now. This is it'd be hard for his value to be any higher than it is right now. Um, he could be considered the top pitcher in the American League, and there are teams that might be desperate to fix their rotation, such as the St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, that was written about on a national column by Jim Bowden from the Athletic, who I keep ripping on Jim Bowden. I keep saying I'm not a big fan, but then I realize I'm referencing him all the time. I'm reading his articles, and it's like I probably need to change my attitude about him.
Yeah, change it.
I can change. If you can change, I can change. I just look at him as okay. I just look at him as a failed general manager, and I think I probably hold that a little bit too far. He's an interesting writer, so. But hey, he brought up the idea that the Tigers should trade him to St. Louis, and St. Louis specifically because they had a glut of outfielders that they could move. And that's the part where I disagree with Jim Bowden. I'm not interested in mediocre outfielders that can't make the Cardinals starting lineup. I want prospects. I want their top prospects. They have 2 in the top 50, so I would take one of those right now. The logic, at least, of trading now is the Cardinals would get 4 months of Eduardo Rodriguez instead of possibly 2 or a month and a half, or whenever the trade deadline is, increasing his value that much more. They'd get, 6, 7 more starts out of him. So that's why I wouldn't be averse to losing him now. I also don't have an affinity. It's easy to trade away a guy that is only in his second year as a Tiger, especially when his first year.
It's so strange.
It was so strange. He was barely a Tiger. He took a personal leave of absence ended up being to deal with a divorce, which is understandable. But at the same time, it's like, dude, we're paying you a bunch of money. He did not get paid for that time off. So there's no real connection other than I really like watching him pitch right now in a Tigers uniform. So that it's probably a little bit easy for me to do, to just say, hey, trade him right fucking now. But that value is as high as it's going to be, I think. And I think it's probably a sure thing that he will go someplace. People are arguing that, hey, the Tigers are actually in second place in this shitty AL Central. They might be able to make a run for it. They're only 2 games behind the Twins. They might be 2.5 now. I didn't see if they won this afternoon or not, but I think that's foolhardy. You look at this Tigers team, they might be able to make a run in this terrible division.
They are 3 behind.
Okay, the Twins must have won this afternoon against San Diego, but how would you expect them to do anything in the playoffs? I mean, if you want to hang a banner that says we won the 2023 AL Central, that's a rather dubious honor when you look at the records of those teams right now. So.
What do you mean? But here's a stat I love to make fun of, but it's also very funny to look at this. So the Twins are in first place with plus 24 run differential.
Oh, there's the run differential.
No,
yeah,
but this is what's funny.
You say you hate it, but you bring it up all the time.
This is what's funny in the Central, though, that everyone else is negative.
Yeah,
all the way down.
yeah. I think the Tigers are still 30 below or around that. 34.
Yeah. Cleveland's 25. Sox 68.
I just think it's fool's gold. Trying to hold on to a depreciating asset that you're going to lose next year potentially. The other part of that is we don't really know. I think the Tigers probably know, but we don't know what Erod's plans are. He might absolutely love it in Detroit for all we know. I say if that's the case, tell him, hey, we're going to trade you right now, but we're going to sign you back. And when we sign you back, you're going to be coming back to an even better team after the assets we receive from whatever schmucks we trade you for. So you could sell it that way, where you're not alienating the player by trading him. We're going to trade you to a good spot. It's going to put you in a good position, but we're going to deplete them. So we're even better next year if you want to come back. That's a little bit down the tracks. It's hard to know how those things can play out, but that's the way I'm looking at it. I think he's an asset at the peak of his value. If you can trade him now or soon, I'm all for it.
How many times has that actually worked out? Well, I mean, the only one I can name is Aroldis Chapman, when anything like that's ever even worked out.
Where he went back to the team, the Yankees. That's certainly a good example. Since I didn't do the research, I can't say that's the only example, but I don't think it would also necessarily mean that it's impossible. That they can't, that doesn't necessarily pop into your head right away. Doesn't mean it can't happen again. But I just wanted to throw that out there since it was a national story. Rarely do Tigers, at least recently, garner that much attention. So I thought that was
they red hot, baby.
Word Hole Media.